Hello and welcome back to Spirit Mom. Today at Spirit School we're going to talk about weight loss and weight in general in regards to a spiritual awakening. What do the two have in common? How are they linked? What do we do with the both together? Well, the glorious thing is you do nothing. Weight loss or weight in general, it could even be weight gain, I've gone through both, is kind of ignored when you're spiritually awakening. When you're spiritually awakening, weight is no longer a factor. It's not something you end up thinking about at all. It's something that takes care of itself once you get into a zone, and it's a good indicator that you're getting out of the zone if you find yourself worried one way or the other. Are you getting too skinny? Are you getting too big? But if you start thinking these things again, you know that you're not on the correct spiritual path anymore, because these things are physical things that demonic forces, negative entities, bad subconscious are going to take advantage of. Okay, so we'll go and we'll do an example using my origin story, which we glazed over the weight issues in it, but let's birth it out here, because this isn't just my story, but this is my personal story that will just give a big picture of what you're looking at when it comes to weight and a spiritual awakening. So obviously I'm a girl, and all through basically, I think it started once I got above 100 pounds, I started being like, oh, so that'd be around like 12, 13. And then I was fine. I think I went up to about 115 for most of my teenage years. And I was all right with that, but not really. I still thought I was fat. I thought I was fat and I was only like 115 pounds. Think about that. So I'm thinking I'm fat all the time. I remember being a little kid looking at my thighs as I sat on the bus and being like, oh, those are huge. And that would have been under 100 pounds. And I was just, because when you sit, your thighs, you know, and yeah, so I continued just constantly focusing about my weight, thinking when I was skinny, I'd be happy. When I was skinny, I'd be happy. When I was skinny, I'd be happy. And this continued on forever. And we learned in my early 20s, I gathered a lot of emotional issues. I became a really poor me and a blame gamer. And I still thought I was fat. Eventually, I ended up, remember, because if you watch my origin story, I got on antidepressants, and they helped, but in a medical way, but they made me even fatter. Because before I was like this is my normal, I'm at 115. I should have said at the end of high school, because I went on birth control, I plumped up to, and then for then on, I was between 120 and 130, which is where I am now, between 120 and 130, bounces in between. I don't even look anymore. So at that, you know, here I thought I was fat at 115, so you get between 120 and 130. 130 was always my red line. If I got to 130, that's when I'd get on a strict diet and get back down closer to 120, but 125 would be a comfortable place to say is where I usually was at. So I was on antidepressants, and then I got really big for me. So I asked for a weight loss drug, and he put me on Wellbutrin. Anybody that's ever heard of Wellbutrin, it's nicknamed Crackbutrin because it's the crack of medical antidepressants. It was fun, put it that way, but I was no longer me. I wasn't on it I was on it too long, because nobody should ever be on it, but it definitely put me into weight loss, and that weight continued to fall off even long after I went off the drug, and I ended up getting down to 97 pounds before I was like, maybe I'm too skinny. And there was a whole emotional breakdown in the middle of that, which I talk about in my origin story. But the point was, you know why it caused me to end up having a mental breakdown? Because guess what happens when you get skinny, but you're not emotionally secure? When you get skinny, you end up getting crazier, because most of your thoughts are dominated by, I'm fat, I'm fat, I'm fat, I'm fat, I'm fat. Well, once you take I'm fat off the table and you're skinny now, you're not like, yay, my life is great, I'm skinny now, everything's perfect. No, now you get to think about your problems. You get to think about your traumas. You get to think about how much you suck. You are awful. Because think about it. I'm not, saying you are. I'm saying this is where the brain's going to go. Because when you have a bad subconscious and demonic forces and negative entities trying to bring you down all the time and you're letting them, they'll use I'm fat because it's an easy one. But once you take I'm fat off the table, stuff can get way darker. It can get way worse because I'm fat is way nicer than a lot of the things they can say about you. Put it that way. And it just gets worse. So for all you out there thinking you're gonna be happy when you're skinny, you're not. That is not gonna happen. Guess what? You get happy first and then you get skinny. Because in my origin story, I talk about how the mental breakdown caused a spiritual awakening. In fact, the mental breakdown was pretty much a dark night of the soul because I knew I needed to be waking up, but I was too busy watching TV and having fun and drinking alcohol. But once I spiritually awoke and I started taking those steps with spiritual awakening, learning about things of the universe and God, and it's incremental, one step at a time, I was in and out of like these spiritual awakening in the beginning. We're talking years of in and out. So when I got super skinny, I had like a bit of an awakening, but then I ended up getting super fat. Like and I'm not being rude. I like 60, 70 pounds extra. And here I thought I was chunky before. And I went and gained a lot. I almost cracked 200. And that's when I was like, okay, it was like the 97, except the reverse. I was like, okay, something needs to change. So that's when I started eating healthier and it caused a new spiritual awakening. But this time it was pure. This time it never stopped. It's years later and I'm still on that spiritual awakening. It's had ebbs and flows of tiny poor me moments, but not really. Like it's been going up. It's been nothing like I ever was before that moment where enough was enough. And both times, like all this my weight was really intertwined with my spiritual awakening is what I'm trying to say. However, now that I find myself spiritually awoken, like I'm fairly awake, although one can always wake more, but I don't go through my day-to-day with heavy burdens. I have the tools and the knowledge now, so when something bad happens, I know where to put that, what to think about it. I know how to let it go. We talked about dissolving pain yesterday. So I have lots of tools in my tool shed. So my weight is no longer a factor, and it just isn't. Like my sister told me a while ago to stop weighing myself, because even though I was spiritually awoken, I was still weighing myself because it's just something we do, right? Well, she told me to stop weighing myself, and I did, and that was like a new level of freedom. I don't even weigh myself anymore, and I have no idea what I weigh. I can tell because I'm a girl, and usually when it gets around that time of the month, I feel a little extra snackish, and I'll see in the mirror, and even when watching back my videos, that my face looks a little plumper, Like even right now, I'm in like a middle. Like I feel like sometimes because you can see, so there's more definition versus less, and that's the way I can tell my weight. And it's not really a factor anymore because I don't feel the need to overeat. I don't feel the need to undereat. Like food is just not a factor anymore. And this isn't rah me, this is rah the universe. Rah getting to a place of not letting the shadow and the ego run our lives anymore. Once we take control of our lives, they subconscious, demonic forces, negative entities, they don't have the same power that they used to. They don't get to control me, and they don't get to control my weight. Do they cause the odd slip up where I eat too many cookies? Sure. But it's not my life anymore. Like, do I odd time eat a bag of chips, especially if I feel like literally like if I had a cold or something? My cure is like a bag of Lay's chips, which I don't know why. It's my thing, and it's not a healthy thing, but there's always things we need to fix, right? So I still have like the odd thing. It's not perfect, but for the most part, I never cheat on being gluten-free. I'm gluten-free. That's it. There's no gluten-free. I'm always going in and out of trying to be a vegan. Like, so there is still things that I deal with my diet. I would like to be fully whole foods, but I'm not. But I want to, and I try and I strive for that, but I'm not. So there's still things that we work on. But I don't sit around day in and day out going, oh, I'm fat. I'd be happy if I was skinny. I'd be happy if I was skinny. Like, that's gone. That's off the table. That's not a thing anymore. And that's not saying that to be spiritually awakened, you have to get to, you could be any weight you want and be spiritually awakened and just be happy in thine own self. So you don't have to be any kind of weight to be happy. This is just my normal weight. This is what I was for a good chunk of my life. It's just, I think, where my body likes to be. It is my weight. You know what I mean? So this is where I'm happy. So you could be happy at whatever weight you want. So let's say you are 97 pounds, great. Let's say you are 300 pounds, great. You could be happy with wherever you are happy. The point is, when you're spiritually awakening, you will not care what you weigh. You won't care. You want to be healthy though. You want to eat healthy. Vibrations. Healthy food is high vibrational. You're gonna want high vibrations. Low vibrational foods like cookie and chips and pop. Get rid of pop. That's a waste of calories right there. High vibrational foods bring us up, and low vibrational foods bring us down. So we are just gonna naturally want the high vibrations, which will naturally lead us to be healthier in weight. Okay? At the sound of the bell, we'll call that a close. I believe you can awaken people, and I believe that one day you will be completely comfortable with who you are. You won't even think about weight. It won't even be a word in your vocabulary anymore. When people ask you what you weigh, you'll say, I don't know. And you'll be perfectly pleased with that. Okay? I believe in you people. Goodbye for now, Spirit Mom.